911. Where's your emergency?
This is Alex Murdaugh at 4147 Moselle Road. I need the police to answer immediately. My wife and child are shot badly.
Well, good afternoon. I'm Franky, and this is the Think Tank. So the trial is still a ways away, 20 minutes. And I said we would look at these eagles. So I thought I'm going to pop on a little bit early because they are pretty much amazing. Look at that. Isn't that something? She doesn't seem to be going too far. She's sticking close to the nest. So it does make me think there's probably eggs under her. But I have not seen, usually the male doesn't go too far, but I've seen nothing as far as the male goes. I'm not too sure the exact location of this, but looks like our area. It's not, but it looks like it. I'd love to know what temperature it is out there. She's just, oh my word. They're so regal. I lived on Vancouver Island for a year or so. And there is this one section, well, all over where the ocean, all along the banks, they are everywhere. They have got to be one of the most beautiful birds ever. And not everybody gets to see them. So yeah, I am assuming she is sitting on eggs. Just gorgeous. I've got a few different animal cams that I put up that I thought better than staring at that clock. I'm going to put the volume on for this and see if I'm looking at the other places. Africa's dark. And I'm not seeing any movement from there. I'm just going to check while we're at it to see if there's anything else that looks, I mean, they're gorgeous. Okay, we've got that one. I wonder if I think we've got that one. It's dark. Well, this one's interesting too. It's a little bit of movement. Oh, okay. You guys are going to like this one. Yeah, you're going to like it. You're going to like this one, guys. See the babies? Isn't that brilliant? Mom and Dad are there feeding the babies. And like I say, all the African wildlife right now, it's dark. So we were able to watch the giraffes a little earlier, but we got back into the trial. I just did it for a couple of minutes. Like I say, better than the clock. And as soon as that's ready, we will jump on, but we still got about another 10 minutes. There doesn't seem to be as much snow in this spot. Hello, Dandy. I was on another one, but I think she's sitting on eggs because there's no movement. But this one here's got the babies. So I thought it would be kind of cool to watch them. This is something a person doesn't get to see, right? Both mom and dad fluffing up the nest. Don't step on your baby. Watch out, kids. Jeez. Just damned adorable. Wow. We do have them around here. Depending on what you're doing, but if you're out in the open, you pretty much you got a good chance of seeing one of them. Look at that. Come on up, buddy. Hello. Oh, there we go. Right onto the camera. I wonder how they got that camera up there. I bet you he went to get more sticks and stuff. They're on a mission. Yeah, this one. You bet. You bet. Sounds like they're named Alex and Andrea. The other eagle cam, mom was sitting on the nest. I believe that's what was happening anyways. So not a lot of movement. And I got looking around and I found this one. So I thought, ooh, babies. No, come on. No timing out allowed. Let us watch the babies. And I'm not sure where this is, Dandy. Aren't they something? Yeah, there we go. It's a little early. Wonder if spring will come early this year. There's a lot of birds migrating. There really is. And, we're not sure where this is. So, depending on location, the other camera was in a different area because they had snow and she was still sitting on those eggs. I mean, that's what it appeared to be to me. I'm just going to look and see court. It's coming up. Oh, I could watch this all day with some people probably think it's boring, but I think it's pretty amazing. I'm seeing two, I think. California area, Dandy, do you think that their eagles would be having babies yet? Okay. Hasn't this been the most screwy weather? I mean, it's probably throwing off all of them. I'm surprised we don't have our bears walking around. We probably do, actually. We probably do. Oh, I'm just going to put this up. Yeah, me either. Me either. I mean, they've got the right terrain, so I'm thinking they probably have them. It's like both mom and dad have gone to get either more bedding or maybe food for those little ones. Okay, guys, looks like we are filing in. Oh, still get to look at that for a second. She's feeding her babies. Okay, I'm going to just because she's feeding them. Oh, she was. Just beautiful. So I wonder what's going to happen this afternoon with this case. Let's see here. Not ready quite yet. Yeah, you're right, Dandy. soon as they pan down, I will go back to the courthouse. But right now, they're still looking at that seal. Just busy, busy, busy with the NAS day. Isn't that something? So it says Alex and Andrea on the top. I wonder if they've named them. I'm guessing they have. Where the hell are you, hubby? Said you were bringing home the milk. Stopped to gamble again, didn't you? So it's 20-1 my time now. So he should be popping in with the jury pretty darn close here. My dog's having a nightmare. Did you collect eagle feathers, Dandy? Oh my God. Oh my word. Wow. That nest is massive. We know how big eagles are. So just imagine the size of that nest because she has plenty of space to walk around. Still the seal, guys. Yeah, and Africa is like dark. So do you think there's 2 or 3 in there? So another question about the Murdaugh case. Well, I've got a couple. So one would be, how did Paul and Maggie get from the house to the kennels? She was wearing flip-flops, and they have not said anything about a vehicle as of yet that got them there, or if there's 2, because if they went separately. Have you guys heard anything about how they managed to get from that house to those kennels? Okay, let's jump over. And my other one is, do you think that all of those flat footprints are Maggie's?
Witness back.
And we're off.
Bring the jury.
All the jurors are present.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please support. Senior Special Agent Croft, a couple things I want to kind of go back to just as a housekeeping matter before we move on to new matter. And all right, so I'll show you some images. I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit. What we're doing first: 163, 173, 158, 175, 176, 177, 179, 180, 181, and 183. And just have you generally flip through those and see if you recognize those images.
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, and just generally, what are these images of, if you would?
Those are still images taken from my body-worn camera the day of the 8th.
So these are still images from the body-worn cameras that the jury saw prior to lunch?
That is correct.
All right, Your Honor, this time the state would move in states 163, 173, 158, 175, 176, 177, 179, 180, 181, and 183, I believe, without objection.
No objection.
Admitted.
All right, let's go through these real quick. We could, if I could get the input to the helmet. Looks like it is on the helmet. All right. We got this fancy hood up here. See if that'll do better for us. All right. Can you tell me what this image is of, please? And this, for the record, my apologies, would be States 163.
That is a picture of the pool table in the gun room that with the 300 or AR-15 300 blackout sitting on the pool table, which I collected out of the gun rack.
All right. And that person right there, who was that?
That is Mark Bull.
All right. I'm going to show the jury now 173. Tell me what this image is, please.
That is that AR-15 rifle 300 blackout sitting in the gun wall before it was pulled from the gun wall, placed on the table.
All right. Still image 158. Can you tell me what that is, please?
That is what I was describing as the side door, which enters to the gun room without going through the main part of the house, the stoop, and out in front of that is where items were collected.
And what items are you talking about?
The 5 300 spent shell casings were collected out in front of the stoop.
All right. Going to go now to exhibit 175. And what is that image?
That is the same side door, just a different angle, same stoop.
All right. 176. Tell me what that is, please.
That is the brick landing at the bottom of the stoop. And just in the center, down low, close to the bottom, you can see a 300 spent 300 blackout casing.
What am I pointing out with my finger right now?
That is the spent 300 blackout casing.
All right. Go to exhibit number 177. Tell me what this still image from your body cam reflects.
That is my hand, and I have picked up a spent 300 blackout casing from the side of the stoop.
All right. 179.
Those are the 300 blackout casings which were collected at the in front of the stoop.
All right. And now 180.
That is the left-hand side of the entrance of the gun room, just in the flower bed.
All right, and do we see cases in that image? You can step down if you need to. I know your screen's pretty small. You need to step down this time.
I can't pick it out on that picture.
All right. I'm gonna hand you State's Exhibit 180. See if you can make it out.
Yes, sir. It would be at the bottom of the picture, about in the center.
All right. Let me have you come around. Or you can do it. I'll put it back up. Do it screen for the jury, please.
It would be right here.
All right. Sounds good. You can retake the stand, please. All right, moving on to 181. Tell the jury what this still image reflects, please.
That is three of the 300 blackout spent casings that was collected at the base of at the front of the stoop.
All right. And then finally, jumping the gun, we have 183. Tell me what that reflects.
That would be to the, I believe, the right-hand side of the stoop, and just at the end of my hand, I'm fixing to pick up a spent 300 blackout casing.
What is my finger pointing to right there?
That is the 300 blackout casing, which I'm talking about.
All right, thank you. Right before lunch, there was admitted in the evidence states 152 and 151, and you got your readers with you?
I do, yes, sir.
Can you remind us where those items were collected, please?
The ammo was collected from the shelving in the gun room, 300 blackout ammo, on 9/13 of 21, and the 300 blackout the 243 magazine with 300 blackout ammo in it was collected from a black Ford F-150 that was located on the property.
And you got a knife on?
I do, yes, sir.
You mind opening that exhibit for us? And let's take a look at those items, please.
Do you want me to open the brown baggage also?
I do, please. Let's go ahead and do this with that one first, if we could. Can you remove the item from its packaging, please? What you got there?
It's a magazine which fits the AR style rifle that is loaded with 300 blackout ammunition.
All right, and can you see what brand that is on there? On the rounds that you can see?
Appears to be S&B 300 blackout.
S&B 300 blackout.
Yes, sir.
Let me take that item I'm gonna put this up on the screen so the jury. All right, go ahead and open the other one for me, please. Before we move on, we're not pulling all the ammo out. Does this magazine appear to be relatively full?
It's pretty heavy, so it's pretty cool.
All right. Let's keep it. Go ahead and just put that one back for me, please. Go on to the next one.
Cut the bottom of the bag.
What you got in there?
This is another magazine that fits the AR style rifle. It's loaded with 300 blackout.
Can you tell the particular brand of that 300 blackout?
It's head stamp S&B 300 blackout.
All right. Let me go put that up on the screen for the jury. All right. Just real quick before you put it back, we're not taking all the bullets out or cartridges out. Does that appear to be fairly well loaded?
It's got some weight to it. It feels like it's fairly loaded.
All right. If you can return that to its bag, please. And then put this back in the plastic bag for me. We've been talking about guns for a while. Let's talk about something else for a minute, and then we'll get back to guns. You got it back?
Yes, sir.
All right. Going back to June 8th, 2021, were you present when any efforts were made to collect the cell phone belonging to Maggie Murdaugh?
Yes, sir, I was.
All right. And who all were you present with when that happened? And just kind of describe the events as they took place, please.
It was myself, Special Agent McAllister, Captain Ryan Neal, Dylan Hightower. There was one or two more people there, but I don't recall.
Okay. And ultimately, was that phone located?
The phone was located a short distance from the crime scene.
All right. And where was it, just generally?
If you would come out of 41, out of the driveway of the residence, take a right on Moselle Road, quarter mile, half mile. I don't recall the exact distance, on the left-hand side of the road, kind of in the grass area.
When y'all found it, what happened then? Who picked it up? Who collected it? What happened to it at that point?
Captain Neal picked it up. Special Agent McAllister held it in her hand while a picture was taken of it, gloved hand. We were given the passcode to the phone. Passcode was entered into the phone just to verify that it would work, it would unlock, and it did work, it did unlock. It was immediately shut, locked back, and then passcode was written on a sticky note. It was packaged and ultimately turned over to crime scene.
Okay, and you were there when all that happened, is that correct?
That is correct, yes, sir.
Aside from the things y'all just described, was it otherwise manipulated or tampered with or changed in any way?
No, sir, it was not.
All right, I'm going to show you what's been previously marked for identification at this time as Exhibit 204, and have you just take a look at that and see if you recognize that item.
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, tell me what that item is.
This is the phone that was recovered on the side of the road belonging to Miss Maggie Murdaugh.
The one you just described?
Yes, sir, it is.
The one that was secured by Captain Neal
Yes, sir, it is.
and then turned over to crime scene?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, put it back in if you will. Oh, just real quick. All right, at this time, Your Honor, we would move Exhibit 204 into evidence, I believe, without objection.
Submit it.
All right. Let me ask you this question. Do you know a guy by the name of John Bedingfield?
Yes, sir, I do.
And is that somebody you knew before this case?
Yes, sir, it is.
And how do you know him, just generally?
John grew up in Barnwell, just like myself. He actually has a son that's the same age as my son. They went to school together, played ball together. I've known John for a number of years.
And what does John do for a living? Do you know?
He is a DNR officer.
All right. And does he have a side business?
He does.
And just generally, what does that side business do?
He's got a gun business where he builds, works on firearms.
Okay. And prior to this case ever happening, did you ever have any conversation with John Bedingfield about whether or not he had assembled any guns for Alec Murdaugh?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. And is that something that you knew prior to this case ever taking place?
Yes, sir, it is.
After this case took place, well, let me ask you this. Did you know what ammunition was used by those guns that were assembled by John Bedingfield for Alec Murdaugh?
Yes, sir.
And what ammunition was used in those guns?
Hearsay.
Response.
Yes, not all for the truth of the matter asserted this time, but effect on the listener for his actions.
Anything further?
It's still hearsay, and I'm not sure what his actions are in response to the hearsay. I mean, he's asking questions about what he learned well before these crimes.
Objections overruled.
And so what was the ammunition in the guns from what John Bedingfield told you?
The guns were built and chambered for 300 blackout.
All right. As this case developed, did that prior fact that you knew, that caused you to take any actions?
Yes, sir, it did.
And tell me what actions you took based on that prior knowledge you had.
I contacted John Bedingfield and asked him if he could provide me with paperwork for the weapons that was purchased by Mr. Alec Murdaugh.
All right. And was that after these particular crimes that took place?
That was after, yes, sir.
All right. You remember roughly when that was?
It was within a day or so that I talked to him, yes, sir.
All right. And did he ultimately provide you some paperwork?
Yes, sir, he did.
Was that the only conversation you had with John Bedingfield about the 300 blackouts that he built for Alec Murdaugh?
No, sir, it was not.
Was there a subsequent conversation?
Yes, sir.
Did you call him back or did he call you back?
I called him back and then to require of potential additional 300 blackout that was purchased by and paid for by Miss Maggie Murdaugh.
Okay, so you called him with an inquiry, is that correct?
That is correct.
Tell me what your inquiry was to John Bedingfield after he initially provided you some paperwork.
I'm sorry, sir. I couldn't hear you.
Sorry, turned away.
That's okay.
Tell me what your specific inquiry was to John Bedingfield that second time when there was a subsequent conversation.
The second time that I talked to John was to inquire about whether or not he built a third 300 Blackout to replace a gun that Paul had misplaced or had gotten stolen earlier in 2017.
All right, and in response to that inquiry, did John Bedingfield provide you some additional paperwork?
Yes, he did.
All right, I'm going to show you what's been marked as stand by for me real quick. All right, I'm going to show you what's been marked at this time for identification only. States 247. Stand by for me, Mr. Wolf. All right, I'm going to ask you to look at what's been marked for identification only this time as Exhibit 247 and see if you recognize that paperwork.
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, and just again, without describing the contents, tell the jury what this paperwork is, please.
It's a copy of canceled checks and copy of the sale of firearm.
All right, and this was documentation that was provided to you in response to your inquiries to John Bedingfield?
That is correct.
And who gave this documentation to you?
John Bedingfield.
All right, I'm going to, again, without going into the contents, look at the second page and tell me, is that the document that was provided in response to your second inquiry when you called him back about a third blackout?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. All right, I'm going to show you two exhibits. I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 162 first, and it's a disc, and see if you recognize that particular exhibit, please.
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, tell me what that exhibit is.
That is a disc from, or excuse me, a video from my body worn camera of collection of shell casings.
All right, and does it have a date on when that occurred on it?
6/16/2021.
All right, so this is different from what we've already talked about, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, and then I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 248 and see if you recognize that particular exhibit.
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, and is that additional body cam footage from that search on 6/16/21?
That is correct.
All right, Your Honor, at this time, I would move both Exhibits 248 and 162 into evidence and leave without objection.
Correct, Your Honor.
Admitted.
All right, so got a search on 6/16/21. Can you tell the jury a little bit about that search, how it came to pass, what was going on, and then we'll get to the footage as to what occurred.
Okay. During the investigation process, we learned that there was a shooting range and some bodies of water on the property. And when I say on the property, it's across the road from the incident location. Through discussion with the investigative team, it was decided that we needed to go over to that shooting range and also search that body of water for any potential evidence that may be found.
And this shooting range, that was still part of the Murdaugh property at Moselle, is that correct?
That is correct. It would be kind of diagonal to your left from where the kennels are at.
All right. And the information received was that the family used that as a shooting range.
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Let me show you quickly. Go ahead and just quickly show you these. Show you what's been marked as exhibits 184, 185, and 186, and see if you recognize those.
Yes, sir, I do.
All right. And tell me what those are generally, please.
One is the picture of the shoot house. The other is a picture of the inside of the shoot house. And then the third picture is a picture of the area next to the waterway where we collected some items.
All right. Your Honor, this time I would move exhibits 184, 185, and 186. State's exhibits and evidence, I believe, without objection.
No objection.
All right, very quickly, put this up on the screen. 184, again, tell the jury what that is, please.
That is what I'm describing as a shoot house. It has a bench inside where you would set up to shoot targets out in front.
All right, 185, what does that represent, please?
That is on the inside of the shoot house, the chair, the stand where you would sit, and obviously the rail where you would rest your weapon.
All right, what are these little shiny things on the floor there?
That's brass from firearms that's already been fired.
All right, and is that how the scene looked when you found it?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, and then finally, 186, what does that represent?
That is two 12-gauge spent shotgun shells that was collected over near the waterway behind where we had set our dive trailer up.
All right. If I could have the inputs changed to the video, please. All right, this time I'm going to play exhibit 162. For the record, I'm going to fast forward it to about 43 seconds into the video. Is that the shooting house as you observed it?
Yes, sir, it is.
I'm now at 1 minute and 19 seconds, and I have it paused. But tell me, what is this thing right here that's kind of up on the counter of that shooting house?
That would be a rest that you would put your rifle in when you're sighting it in or shooting downrange at targets to help stabilize it.
All right, when you're sighting it in, just real quick, explain with the jury what you're trying to do when you sight in a rifle that you would use that rest for.
When you're zeroing your rifle, whether it be 100 yards, 200 yards, you want to hold a rifle as still as possible, obviously. You would have a target downrange at whatever distance you're sighting it in at. You would fire 1, 2, 3 rounds, and then you would adjust your optics and continue till you get it zeroed to where you want it.
And 0 means it's shooting where you're aiming.
Yes, sir.
Ultimately, and I'm gonna fast forward through a fair amount of this, but ultimately, after seeing those cases on the floor, did you see any 300 blackout that you recognized just looking down were 300 blackout?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right. And did you send Special Agent David Owen to go get some envelopes so you could collect those?
Yes, sir, I did.
And ultimately, did you collect about 17 S&B cases at that location?
Yes, sir, I did.
Hold it.
For the record, I'm at 11 minutes and 3 seconds in the video.
Okay. So what is it? 300? 300 blackout? Head stamp is S&B. Okay. 300. That AAC BLK.
What are you reading out right there?
I'm reading the numbers to identify, the identifiers off the head stamp of the shell casing.
Move now to 1207.
S&B. 300. AAC BLK.
Same ammunition?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to move now.
Your right leg. Hang on. I'm sorry. S&B. 300 blackout. AAC BLK.
Same thing?
Yes, sir, it is.
Also near the right leg of the shoot tank. Above the chair. Okay. S and K, 300 blackout. S and K. I'm sorry. S and G. Yeah, same head strap. S and B is what you were saying. Well, what are we different? Hang on. I'm sorry, it is S and B. Oh. AAC BLK.
Same thing?
Yes, sir, it is.
Moving to 1619.
S and B 300 blackout. AAC BLK.
Same thing?
Yes, sir, it is.
1721.
in front exhibit
Check that. 1717.
DLK, 300 blackout.
Too far. Let's back up to 1712.
S&B, 300, AAC, DLK, 300 blackout.
Yes, sir, it is.
Moving now to 18:00, about 18 minutes even.
300 blackout, looking to AAC. Okay. S&B, 300 blackout, looking to AAC, DLK.
Yes, sir, it is.
Between the table leg and the wall of the shootout.
1847.
It's gonna be S&B, 300 blackout, it'll be 300, AAC, DLK.
Same thing.
Yes, sir.
So,
Moving now to 2221.
same hit.
Excuse 2216.
Stamp S&B, 300, AAC, DLK.
Same thing.
Yes, sir, it is.
DLK.
2309.
Will be S&B, 300 blackout, hit that AAC, DLK.
Same thing.
Yes, sir, it is.
Moving up to the right front
Now we're at 2356.
corner. Up the shootout. Okay. Gonna be S&B, 300 blackout, hit that 300, AAC, DLK.
Same thing.
Yes, sir, it is.
Moving to 2452.
S&B, 300 blackout. AAC, DLK.
Same thing.
Yes, sir.
Y'all have to go get some more envelopes at this point.
I think that's what we just went to do.
I'm gonna move it forward. All right, we're at now at 2802.
S&B, 300 blackout. 300, AAC, DLK.
Same thing.
Same thing, sir.
What?
We're now at 2908.
That's right. This is S&B, 300 blackout, AAC, DLK.
Same thing.
Same thing, sir.
Now we're at 3027.
S&B, 300 blackout, AAC, DLK.
It's the same thing, sir.
Now we're at 3132.
Okay, S&B, 300 blackout, AAC, DLK.
Same thing.
Yes, sir, it is.
S&B. All right, that's chair.
Now we're at 3216.
S&B. All right, 300 blackout, 300 AAC.
Same thing.
Yes, sir, it is.
Almost done. Now we're at 3332.
In front of the chair. S&B. AAC, okay, 300 blackout.
Same thing.
Yes, sir, it is.
Will be in front of the shooting chair on
We're now at 3428.
the table. S&B. 300 blackout. AA. G, be okay. AA.
Same thing.
Yes, sir, it is.
You participated in multiple searches at various locations on the Murdaugh property at Moselle Road. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you repeatedly find S&B 300 blackout ammunition, both fired and unfired, at various locations throughout that property?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right, we'll do one more very quick one, and this will be Exhibit 248. And I'm going to fast forward to about 102, and I've got it paused, but tell us generally where we are and what we're seeing here again, please, if you would.
This location is going to be between where the shoot house was located and the body of water that was there. It's where we had our dive trailer set up and table set up with a shade so that we could actually get out of the weather if we needed to.
And are you collecting any items here?
Yes, sir, I am.
And what are you collecting?
Spent 12 gauge shotgun shells.
All right, I'm gonna let that play for a second. And for the record, we're at 24 seconds in.
Hold that. All right. Let's see.
For the record, I'm stopping at 1 minute and 14 seconds. I'm going to show you again what's been marked as State's Exhibit 21. And are there in fact shotgun shells present in there?
There is.
All right, and where were those collected from, those red shotgun shells?
It's depicted on the video on the Murdaugh property right near the waterway
All right.
at the shooting range.
Talk about some of the things that you did in this case, and you've told this jury that a primary focus that you had here, because of your general knowledge of firearms, was to gather that type of evidence. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
But you also participated in interviews in this case as well, didn't you?
Yes, sir, I did.
You talked about interviewing Rogan Gibson. You talked about interviewing John Bedingfield, right?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Did you interview the defendant or participate in an interview of the defendant?
Yes, sir, I did.
You remember what day that was that you participated in an interview with the defendant?
I don't remember the actual date.
Let me show you Exhibit 243 and see if you recognize this exhibit.
Okay. Yes, sir, I do.
All right. And what is that disc?
This is a recorded interview which was conducted with Alex Murdaugh on 6/10 of 2021.
Are your initials on this disc?
They are.
Jim. Your Honor, this time we would offer an evidence, States Exhibits 243, I believe, without objection. All right, let's play the video.
While you're setting that up, might I move these gun cases out? The defendant can't see for sure.
Stand right, quick while there. Okay.
Just do a quick bit of housekeeping. You had talked earlier about your inquiries to John Bedingfield about the 300 blackouts. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
And I want to show you what's been marked for ID only 245 at this time and see if you recognize that document. You pull it out of the sleeve.
Yes, sir, I do.
All right. And without going into the contents of that document, where did you get that particular document?
I received this document from John Bedingfield.
As part of the inquiries that you earlier described to the jury?
That is correct.
Take that back. The interview of the defendant on June 10th, 2021, where did that take place?
It was in Senior Special Agent David Owens's patrol vehicle in the yard of Mr. John Marvin Murdaugh's hunting lodge.
Your Honor, this time we're going to play Exhibit 243, the second interview of Alec Murdaugh.
Can I take this call really
Yes, sir.
quick?
Go right
This is
ahead.
my sister-in-law.
Yes, go ahead.
And she's trying to. Hey, Marion. Okay, man, I'm meeting with Marion, when I meet with law enforcement, so I'll call you in just a minute.
I don't have a card.
That's fine.
Did Chelsea call you? Okay. Can you let Chelsea know and then make her run Lynn down? Okay, well, tell her to go get Christy to find Lynn. Get any one of the secretaries to find her. All right. Thank you. Sorry to put that on you. Bye.
That's all right. One thing I want to do before we start is I'd like to get a cell phone exam so we can just corroborate everything. Get a consent, and I got a guy here that's going to do it.
Are you gonna download it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
So I'll get to keep my phone?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Um,
Who was the guy that was there to download Alex's phone? Do you remember?
Dylan Hightower with 14th Circuit Solicitor's Office.
He works with the 14th Circuit Solicitor's Office.
That is correct.
At that point in time, that was the prosecutor's office in charge of the case.
That is correct.
It was not until August that the case got sent to the Attorney General's office.
That is correct.
how much attorney-client privilege stuff is on there?
A lot.
Okay. We do have a tank attorney that's going to examine it before we ever do.
What is a tank attorney?
A tank attorney, they look at somebody who's not affiliated with the case that makes sure that there's, Jim, do you know? Can you explain it better?
Sure, and I mean, it's a privileged attorney that doesn't, if there is attorney-client privilege information, it's redacted or extracted by the tank attorney.
How do they know who's the client?
I know.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know what?
But
if y'all get some
But whoever
attorney-client stuff.
that is, would go through me and.
So
we'd work through it.
signature.
Just write your name here.
So Alec, I've had situations where
It's not a big deal.
give me a list of all his clients or something like that, but.
I'll fill out the rest.
I think the big thing, Joe, is, when you download that phone, I don't know if emails come with it or not, because that's probably where all this attorney-client privilege stuff.
And we can actually isolate the emails.
Yeah, that's probably. You don't text
My
clients, but.
No, I do. I text a lot of clients.
Okay.
I'm not a big emailer.
Is that at 11 or 12, or do you know?
I do not know.
I can tell you that in the case story if you want me to. Look at the back, you should have that number. Yeah, what was your date of birth again, Mr. Murdaugh?
2768.
And last word, so you don't get old.
7.
Good luck.
7483. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Doesn't say anything on it. No, most of the new ones don't. Oh, well, this guy. Jim, you want to witness that for me, please? And if you got a passcode or
My passcode is
write it on there.
start at the bottom 9, go up 9669.
9669.
Yes, sir.
All right, let me run this till. I'll be right back.
Where are you from, sir?
I'm actually from Barnwell.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, sir.
I got some cousins in Barnwell.
Got people in Barnwell too. Mixon.
Mixing oil?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my.
You kin to Dickie Mixon?
I don't know. That Mixon oil, my Uncle Ray Mixon, and his son Teddy and Bobby and a bunch of them. Then Freddie Mixon.
I knew Freddie Mixon very well.
And his wife Etta and Jill.
Mr. Freddie goes to Elko Church.
Yeah. Not anymore. He's dead.
I mean, he will be.
He did.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was at his funeral. He had a tiger paw casket at his funeral. He's a big Clemson guy.
You know Big John Bedingfield, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
I know John.
That's my cousin.
Okay. Who was he just talking about right there?
John Bedingfield, the DNR officer, who is also the one that built the AR style rifles, 300 blackout for him.
In Sweet Caroline.
John's son and my son are the same age. They were in school together.
So, did you grow up in Barn?
All right, sir. So he's got it, and he's taking care of that.
But I get it back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, sir. So when we spoke the other night, I got kind of a basic overview.
Yes, sir.
And it was pretty traumatic.
Did I do Monday morning? My wife and my older son had gone to the baseball games that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I really can't remember what I did Monday. I know I went to work,
Okay.
but you know, I think I was dragging a little bit from the weekend, but I went to work. I usually mess around on my farm, and then I go to work. I was at work.
Okay.
You know.
Were you at the office in Hampton, or?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I was at my office in Hampton. You know, I mean, I was just at my office doing
Legal work.
Yes, sir. I'm sure I can go back and probably recreate some specifics if you need me to, but I can't like sit here and recall on the top of my head exactly what I was working on. I know one thing I was working on was we had some big motions coming up in a Dominion Energy case. I was getting ready for those. And I was getting ready for some motions. I'm a defendant in a civil case involving my son. I told you about the boat wreck.
Yes, sir.
And there were some motions coming up in that on Thursday, and I was mostly just getting ready for those things. And then
Question as to what he was doing the day of the murders.
That is correct, yes, sir.
And he said he was working on some motions in the Dominion Energy case, and then also where he's personally a defendant in the boat case. Is that correct?
That is correct,
That's
yes,
what
sir.
he said he was doing the day of the murders. Is that right?
That is correct, yes, sir.
Thank you.
other junk.
What time did you leave the house to go to the office?
I'm not sure.
Who all was at the house when you left?
To go to my office that morning,
Or when you got up, who was at the house?
I'm sure my wife was. And I can't remember if Blanca had made it out there yet or not.
And who was Blanca?
Blanca is our housekeeper.
Okay. Okay.
And she comes different. She doesn't have set hours, but she comes most days. She'll be able to tell you if I was there when she left or not.
Okay.
I can't remember.
And so you went to the office. You did some motions. What time did you leave the office?
What was the name of the housekeeper?
Blanca.
Yeah, when she left or not.
Okay.
I can't remember.
And so you went to the office. You did some motions. What time did you leave the office?
I left a little bit earlier than normal because my son Paul was coming home.
Okay.
Because he had not been with us during the weekend, and he was coming home. We were going to replant some sunflowers the next day, and so he was calibrating, doing, and getting everything ready. So he got home a little early. I left a little early, so he and I could knock around, and we knocked around for, just doing things we like to do out there. We're riding around looking at food plots, looking for hogs, a little bit of target shooting, just bullshit.
Yeah. You said Paul wasn't with you over the weekend. Where does he live with you at the house on Moselle?
Well, I mean, that's his home, but he has an apartment in Columbia.
Okay.
And he goes to Charleston a lot of weekends with his buddies.
Okay.
And he had been in Charleston for the weekend.
Okay.
And then Paul works for my brother John. This out here, you met John.
Yes, sir.
So Paul works for him. So Paul decided to go to. He went to spend the night with my brother, his uncle John. They were very, very close.
Okay.
Sunday night.
Okay.
And then he worked for John Marvin, and he came home Monday afternoon.
Okay.
Just real quick, Alec Murdaugh told you that he left work a little earlier than normal. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's what he said.
And one of the things he told you is they were riding around looking for hogs. Is that right?
Looking for hogs, yes, sir.
Do people often use 300 blackout to shoot hogs?
They do.
About roughly what time in the afternoon?
You know, I would think it'd be somewhere in the 5 o'clock range, a little bit. It was broad daylight when we were. It wasn't dusk, dark, or late.
Okay.
You know, and we rode. You know, we just rode around. We rode around our dove field, looking at how the corn was doing. He and I had planted corn in the dove field, and he planted the corn in the duck pond, and he was, you know, showing me how much better his corn was doing than mine was. And we rode around the duck pond. I mean, we just, you know, we rode the property.
Yes, sir.
You know, we rode the property. Then, you know, I mean, we rode around so much. We just rode. Probably. It was a good little while. It was more than 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And, you know, was it 2 hours? I don't know. I'd say it was more than an hour, probably.
Really wasn't keeping track of time.
And it wasn't, you know, it wasn't getting dark. Mama wasn't home yet. She had gone to a doctor's appointment. So, you know.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, target practice, what y'all shooting?
Just a little bottle. You mean what gun?
Yeah.
A 22 Magnum.
Rat shot.
I think. No, it wasn't rat shot. I think he shot 2 times and I shot 1 time.
Okay.
He told you that they shot just a couple of times. The target shooting at a bottle, 22 Magnum. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And is 22 Magnum, is that a very small round, or is that a much larger rifle round like 300 blackout?
That is a small round.
22 is about as small as it comes.
They make them smaller, but it is small.
So after y'all got finished riding around, try to take me through the rest of the evening.
All right. You know, at some point we were all back at the house together. Maggie had gotten home, and you know, we sat down, we ate supper, which we usually eat supper together. The one thing I remember, I don't know how much detail y'all want, so if I start talking about something that you don't need, just tell me and I'll move to something else.
The more detail, the better. Sir.
So Paul has been having high blood pressure, and his mama was worried sick about it. So we were actually, you know, this was a direct thing, getting him, he doesn't like to go to doctors, making him go get his blood pressure checked. His feet had swollen up recently.
Wow.
So, you know, it was a big, huge deal.
Okay.
You know, we hung around the house for a little while. I know that Maggie went to the kennels. I don't know exactly where Paul went, but he left the house too.
Okay. How did Maggie get down to the kennels?
I don't know exactly, but on normal occasions, she would drive a buggy, drive a 4-wheeler, or very common for her to walk.
Okay. How about Paul?
Paul wasn't much of a walker, but he would use all of the others.
Okay.
But I mean, it could be anyway, you know? I don't know exactly. I wish I could help you with that.
So they left and went down to the kennels.
Well, Maggie went to go to the kennels.
Okay. Paul left.
And I'm assuming, you know, Paul left because of, you know, what happened. I mean, I'm assuming Paul went to the kennels.
Okay. And what did you do once Maggie and Paul left?
I stayed in the house.
What did he tell you he did after Maggie and Paul went to the kennels?
He stayed in the house.
I mean, I'm assuming Paul
Yeah.
went to the kennels.
Okay. And what did you do once Maggie and Paul left?
I stayed in the house.
Okay.
And I was watching TV, looking at my phone, and I actually fell asleep on the couch.
Okay. And what time did you?
You know, I don't know
wake up?
exactly what time I woke up, but when y'all get my phone, you know, I think one of the first things I did when I got up was call Maggie because I was going to my mom's. And I know I texted her because I checked my phone. And what time did we say the text was, Jim? It's like 9:06.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, I got it written down from the other
I
night.
showed you the other night, didn't I?
Yes, sir. I got this.
So, you know, I texted her. So I called her just before that. And I mean, she didn't answer at that point. And I left to go to my mom's.
Okay.
Y'all will just have to look. I'm not sure if I called Paul.
Well,
or not.
and that's why we're getting phones so we can nail down the times and everything.
So I left, drove. Well, you know, I'm gonna tell y'all this, even though I think it's kind of crazy. You know, I was certain that I heard them pull up. I mean, I was positive that I heard, and people don't just come out there. You know, we don't get like passed through. I was certain that I heard them pull up, but they didn't.
Okay.
told you that he thought he heard somebody pull up, but they didn't?
Yes, sir.
And that was before, according to him, he left the house. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Well, if you heard something pull up, what did it sound like?
You know, I can't tell you what it sounded like. I just know that I thought that my wife had pulled up, or that Paul had pulled up.
Would it have been the buggy that she normally drives, or would it be a car?
No, I had the impression that a car pulled up.
Okay.
You know,
and had you woken up by that time, but hadn't left for your mom's?
Yep.
Okay.
But it wasn't much time in between there because I left pretty damn close. It wasn't much time between me waking up and me leaving the house.
Okay.
And when I went outside, you know, there's a wildcat that lives around that house. Okay. I'm pretty sure it was the cat that ran from my car, but you know, I never had the impression it was a person, but there was something.
Okay.
You know.
At this point, the defendant tells you something about a wildcat running. He wasn't sure if it was a person.
Yes, sir. That's what he says.
But I really don't think, you know, I'm just throwing that out there because it was in my mind.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
All right.
That's totally fine.
I left. I drove to my mom's. I checked on my mom.
She lives right out here, correct?
She lives at Alameda. Okay. Checked on my mom. Talked with Shelly for a few minutes. You know.
Shelly is
the caregiver.
Okay.
And you know, I know that I called some people on the way there. I know I returned a call from my brother John. I know that I called Chris Wilson. I know that I talked to Buster. So I made a few phone calls.
Okay.
And
where was Buster?
Buster was in Rock Hill.
Okay. Is that where he lives, or?
No, he lives in Columbia, but he just started a new job. He's going back to law school in January.
Okay.
So he's working a little part-time job with Wild Wings.
Okay.
Through January.
Gotcha.
You know, just kind of killing time. And he was in, his girlfriend lives in Rock Hill. She's studying for the bar exam. So he had to be in Charlotte. So he was staying with her in Rock Hill, her and her mom.
Okay.
Can I open the store?
Yes, sir. So.
All right. So where are we? All right. So then I
left your mom's and making phone calls.
I left my mom's and I went back home. I got to the house. I went inside. Nobody was there. I got in the car. I went back to the kennels and, you know.
And when you went back to the kennels, besides Maggie and Paul, did you see anybody, any cars?
I didn't see anything right then, no, sir.
Take your time.
You know, I saw Maggie and I saw Paul laying down. I knew, you know, I didn't know, you know, I knew it was bad. I went over there and, you know, I saw it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I called 911.
Okay. And what made you decide to go back to the house and get a gun?
Yeah, I just think the whole scene had me freaked out.
Okay. Did you take your car back up there, or did you run up there?
No, I drove.
Okay.
How did Elliot Murdaugh say he went back to the house after finding Maggie and Paul to supposedly go get a gun?
He drove.
And of course, the shotgun that we have is the one you brought back.
They were asking me earlier. I'm not sure which one it was.
Jim, it was a 12 gauge. I know, yeah, Ronnie had the question if it was 12 or 20. It was a 12 gauge.
And it was that camo, though, right?
Yes, sir. I think it was the 12 camo Benelli.
I think so. But that's about all you got, Benelli out there, right?
And we talked about this a little bit the other night too. I know Paul had been getting some threats and getting some being assaulted from, you know, the boat. Who stands out in your mind besides the boat incident? Who stands out in your mind that would want to come after Paul and or Maggie?
I mean, sir, I can't think of anybody who would want to go to that extreme. You know, I mean, he got a bunch of threats, mostly from, you know, I mean, I have no idea.
How would he receive most of those threats?
What do you mean?
I mean, would people call and hang up on him, or send him text, or
it wasn't
social
so much
media?
that. No, it was mostly like in-person confrontations are the ones that I learned about. Now, I suspect his friends can probably tell you about more because I doubt Paul told me about all of them.
Okay.
But I knew about a lot of them. You know, there were a lot of times where people would come up to him and he'd be like, they'd say something about, you know, you gonna tell me who was driving that boat, or you little piece of shit, were you driving that boat? You know, stuff like that.
Okay. Who did he go to Charleston with on the boat that weekend?
I don't know exactly. I know that, I mean, I know who his buddies are, but specifically who was on the boat with him, I'm not sure.
Okay.
You know, but I can give you a list of names of who it probably was.
So, Joe, I don't know if you want me to weigh in here. Maybe we'll put your pins down, but a good buddy of mine's son went fishing with me yesterday out in the ocean, and he has a best friend, and his dad's name is Lee Chapman. But
yeah,
the kid said, Lee's son said that Paul slept on his couch in Charleston 2 nights before he was murdered. So it's Lee Chapman's son. I can give his name. You probably know Lee's son. I don't know, but he goes to Citadel. But that's where Paul was.
Okay.
I learned that yesterday out on the fishing trip when he's by happenstance.
Cool. I mean, yes, sir. If you could get me Lee Chapman's son's contact information.
There was a bunch of Chapman cousins that Paul was very close with. The closest one being Wills Chapman and Frank Chapman.
Wills Chapman's his name. I'll get you a number for him.
And Frank is John Chapman's son, and Wills is Lee Chapman's son.
Yeah, okay. That's where you want.
And those boys are, you know, they're just really good boys and friends of Paul's.
And one of them is Wills with an S, right?
That's right.
And Wills goes to the Citadel, that's you understand?
No, he's graduated from the
Graduated
Citadel.
from.
And Frank was in the Citadel, but I think he had some kind of,
Okay.
academic troubles. But I'm telling you now, I can promise you that, those boys love Paul.
Well,
It's absolutely.
Well, and I
None
just
of
want to
them.
talk to him about their weekend and
Sure.
yeah.
I can tell you this, in riding around with Paul, he was his normal bright, just, he was a really great kid.
So being a dad myself, what was the biggest issue you had with Paul when you had to call him down and scold him or correct him? What was the biggest issue you had with Paul?
Irresponsibility. He was ADHD. He was bad about jumping from, and he had so many wonderful qualities now, but he was bad about jumping from, he'd start this, maybe not quite finish it, do something else. And, you'll find out from his friends, he had clothes strung out all over the state. He did that with clothes. He did that with guns. He did that with my boats. So.
You lost what?
He would misplace stuff or leave stuff behind, right?
Yes, everywhere. He would go off for the weekend. Sometimes he wouldn't pack clothes because he's got clothes in somebody's house. Paul was one, he wouldn't understand how you go out, you and a girl go out on a date. He liked the crowd.
And who was his girlfriend?
He didn't have a girlfriend right now.
Okay.
Alex, last time I talked to him was like 2 weeks ago, although we texted. He was going to Greenville for the weekend. He had friends up there, girlfriend up there.
No, we had a family thing in Greenville, and he came up. Paul didn't play golf. He came up on Friday and stayed Saturday, and then he left to go to Charleston, and we stayed another day to play golf. My niece on my wife's side is having a baby, and we went up for that.
And you said on Monday Maggie had a doctor's appointment in Charleston. And I know we talked about this on Monday. Do you call the doctor that she went to, or for what the reason was?
Maggie had a couple little things going on, and I personally think she was going to see Dr. Gordine, but I'm not positive.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's who it was. I can find out specifically though. Her mom will know.
Okay. And you said she and Buster were at the ball games all weekend?
Yes.
With
me.
With you? And what ball games?
Carolina Regional.
They didn't make it past those, did they?
No.
Okay. Paul was in Charleston, so he didn't hang out with y'all that weekend.
No, sir.
And what time did Maggie get back home Monday night?
It was after Paul and I had gone. She was not there when Paul and I left to go mess around.
Okay.
So, it was sometime after that. So there was a point when, she got back, we got back.
When y'all got back from riding around and messing around on the farm, was she home or?
Yes.
Okay.
The defendant told you that Maggie was home when they got back from riding around the property. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes, sir.
So, and I don't believe she'd been home too long when.
And what's her car? That Mercedes that's out there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And you said Bianca had prepared dinner that night.
Yeah, Blanca cooked dinner that night because Maggie cooks. When the boys are home, or she tries to really for me, but she wasn't going to be there that day. So she had Blanca cook a meal.
How is your relationship with Maggie?
Very good. As good as it could possibly be. I mean, you know, we had our issues, but wonderful.
And I'm just trying to understand the family dynamic.
I understand you got to do what you got to do. I promise.
What was y'all's biggest arguments? What your biggest the things that y'all would argue about the most, what would they be over?
I mean, we really didn't argue, but the basic, I'd say the only thing that caused any friction between us is that she was always wanting us to go. And I love her in-laws. I mean, they're wonderful people. I love them to death. She was always wanting to go there, stay there a little longer than me and the boys wanted to stay. That was really, and it really, you know, she'd get ticked off.
Yeah.
You mean her family? You said her in-law. You mean her family?
I mean her family. I mean, we really didn't argue about much. We didn't have much to argue about. I mean, I'm sure there was an occasional thing that came up that we argued about, but I can't tell you what it is. I can't think of it.
Yeah. Take your time. Go. Tissue.
I'm sorry.
You good?
I mean, she was a wonderful girl and a wonderful wife. And she was a great mother. She, you know, she didn't work. And she always said it was her job. Since she was privileged enough not to work, she was going to make sure she took care of me and the boys. And I mean, she did everything. She did absolutely everything. I'm sorry.
No, you have every right to do it.
I'm good. You go ahead.
That afternoon or during the time you and Paul were running.
Yes, sir.
Did y'all go up to around the kennels or anything? Did y'all do anything up toward the kennels?
I'm sure we did. You know, that's our main shop is, you know, right there. But, you know, I mean, we're normally in there for long times tinkering. And I will say that particular day, we did not tinker around there a bunch, you know?
Okay. When y'all rode around the farm, what were y'all in the truck or?
Well, we were actually in two trucks. We rode in one truck and then we rode in another truck some. One was the black one and one was the white one that was out there.
Mr. Alec.
Yes, sir.
You know, the other day when we were there, we came in and we were talking to John a little bit.
Sure.
And you obviously got a lot of, I say a lot, you said 20 or 25 weapons.
Yes, sir.
And you know kind of what you got as far as any kind of, what kind of weapons you may have?
I'm pretty much, yes, sir.
And I know you might not want them all, but can you kind of run down what you, or kind of what you had, what you got, you know, right there?
That I own or that's in there now?
That you own.
All right. That I own.
That's in there, you know, or wherever they're at.
And, you know, I mean, Paul has guns scattered all over the place. So, you know, some of our guns aren't there. But so you want to know all of them, or you want to know what I think is in my house, or what was in my house on Monday?
Yeah, what was in? Let's start with what was in your house on Monday.
Okay, whatever was in my house on Monday is exactly what was there, minus one shotgun that y'all got.
Okay.
No guns have been moved for, you know, there hadn't been any guns moved in and out of there other than when Paul was home. You know, when Paul came home, he would ride around and shoot hogs a lot.
What would he shoot hogs with?
You know, I mean, primarily he would shoot them with Buster's gun, because
Okay.
Paul had a 300 blackout,
Okay.
and it got, you know, he says it got stolen. You know, and it's been gone for some time.
What did he say Paul liked to do?
To this repeating what the tape says. The jury can hear the tape and just stopping and repeating exactly what Mr. Murdaugh said on the tape.
This witness was actually present, and while there is a recording, he's also fair to relate to the jury what he heard being present for that very conversation.
I overrule the objection.
Thank you.
But anyway,
Let me ask the question again. What did Mr. Murdaugh tell you that Paul liked to do?
Ride around and shoot hogs.
And what did Mr. Murdaugh tell you that the weapon was he used to do that?
He used his brother's 300 blackout.
so he would use his brother's blackout a lot of times.
So Buster also had a 300.
I gave them both one.
Okay. When was that?
Uh,
About.
Years ago.
Okay. More than a year ago.
More than a year ago. All right, so but he would do anything. Paul had this, you know, like a little light that I used that night. Paul would take that thing up to, you know, my 308, and I mean he was always rigging something. You know, so sometimes shotguns when he would go try to kill the hogs, because you know the piglets would be grouped up, but normally he would have a rifle when he went to shoot the pigs. So, all right, so going back to the guns, y'all want me to tell y'all what was in there? Or don't y'all, I mean, have an inventory?
I videoed that the thing. I didn't write down everything that you had. I just took a random, just like a recording of what was on the gun rack or on the gun wall in the gun room that day.
And there are some more guns that aren't in that gun room, you know. I don't know how many, but
Okay.
you know, like I do know there's a shotgun in my bedroom.
And I think Miss Agent Katie, walked with John and saw that one.
Okay. And I imagine there's probably some in some other rooms. I know that I think it was we have two gun cases, one small one and one big one. And I moved some guns from the little case to the big case just because, you know, her mom and dad were in there, and I just took all the guns to the back room. But that's after the fact.
This time, could I request a brief break?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a break for about 10 minutes.
There you go, you guys. Can you see that good? The babies are moving around a little bit more than they were earlier. I think you're right, Perry. Oh, you like that, James? Isn't that amazing? I agree. Mom and Dad. I don't know how many babies, I don't know how many eggs they usually have. Oh, little bit growing on their heads still. Still got that. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at that, look at that, look at that. Feeding the baby. Thanks, Mom. Or Dad. Do you know, I'm not seeing where it says. Let me go over it again. And okay, Kisatchie National Forest. Kisa. I'll spell it out here. Hang on here. Aren't they something? I did put the mic on, but I cannot say for sure how loud these little ones are being. Yes, please. Me too, please. So I guess that explains the weather. Yes, they do stay together. They actually pair for life. So they both take care of the chicks. One usually stays while the other one hunts. But for a while there earlier, both of them were gone. And the other one that I was watching, she's still sitting on her nest. Africa is still dark, so we're not seeing much on those right now. I'll find a couple more to add on. They're just very cool. So the first one that I was looking at is Big Bear Bald Eagle. And like I say, it's pitch black in Africa, so that's what I have at this point. Right, James? I could look at them forever. When do you ever get to see something like this? We're blessed. And I thought, kind of a nice little break while we're watching so much destruction on the channel. Always good to have a way to run away to something peaceful for a little while after all the stuff we deal with, right, guys? And if, okay, the actor, if they show that live, I will probably try and stream that case. I don't know a lot about it. Alec Baldwin, isn't it? I don't know a lot about this case, so I'll look into it a little bit. Harpy eagles. They hunt monkeys and sloths? Oh, yes. Yes. Pure evil. That's got to be a huge bird. That would explain their laying eggs. Yeah, that's what I was wondering where they would be. I thought they must be someplace that doesn't get too cold. Let me see what's going on here. Come on. Oh my God, look at this little guy. He looked like he wanted to jump. Still the seal. They're not back in the court yet. They said a 10-minute break. They have long morning sessions. It kind of surprises me. Kind of feel for those jurors. Harpy eagles. Oh, look at those, eh? Oh my God, the babies are adorable. They are, oh my word, they're beautiful. Oh my God, so where does the harpy eagle dwell? They're so unusual looking. They're massive. Whoa. Okay. Oh, what's going on here? Come on. Yeah, those birds are massive. What the hell's going on here? Most bizarre. Are you serious? Holy crap. Hawk-headed parrot. Oh, look at that. Unreal. So does this keep timing out while I'm checking out these other birds, or is everything okay? They're beautiful and vibrant. Oh my God. Trying to see where are these guys from? Unreal. Unreal. People taste like children, I hear. I did just check, and the seal is still up there. I hear them right away, so we won't miss them. What kind of animals are out where you are, James? What do you guys have for wildlife? Oh, the rainforest. Okay, that makes sense, Dandy. Beautiful. It absolutely is. Do you have one of those parrots, Dandy? Or I guess they're pretty big to have as a house pet. I don't know. My dad liked birds. He had peacocks and he just, you name it, and it was like running around. He loved his birds. I ended up quite liking the African grays. Do your birds talk, Dandy? People taste like children. Oh, I love that, watching them feed their babies. So loving, eh? Like, wow. I wondered if that was fish. Do you guys think that's fish? Oh, wow. Okay, I think, let's see here. Okay, we'll go over there now.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. For the record, we're resuming with the publishing of Stacy 7243, and we're picking up at 36 minutes and 15 seconds in the video. I'm actually going to back it up 10 seconds just since we took a break.
You know, her mom and dad were in there, and I just took all the guns to the back room. But that's after the fact.
Would those guns have been in the room, in the gun room when we came up there with John?
I can't remember exactly when y'all came, but probably. I think y'all came a little bit because it was a good while before y'all came.
You had earlier showing some body cam footage of your search of the gun room. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Ultimately, that day on June 8th, 2021, did agents also go to other areas of the residence to look for any other firearms that fit the description or fit the caliber of the two weapons from the murder scene?
Yes, sir, they did.
And by two weapons, I should say two calibers from the murder scene.
Yes, sir.
And that would be 300 blackout and 12 gauge.
That's correct.
So ultimately, these weapons that were seized, those are the only ones recovered matching those two calibers.
That's
Calibers.
correct.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
probably
there
2
was-
o'clock or so that afternoon before we got here.
Now, did y'all keep any guns out at the kennels?
He didn't keep guns out there, but there were always guns out there.
Okay.
You know? I mean, and I'm gonna be honest with you, we were all a little bit bad about it, but Paul was the worst. You know, he was the worst.
He would leave a gun out there?
He would leave anything anywhere. And, you know, it was not unusual for there to be guns out there.
Did y'all take the
But, like, I can tell you that, I mean, they told me that the 300 blackout was used in this. That 300 blackout, you know, it was not out there.
so y'all didn't use that for target practice, or he didn't have it out there with them on Monday?
No.
Okay. No, that's right, because it was in the house.
What did the defendant tell you about whether or not there was a 300 blackout present at the kennels on the night of the murders?
He said it was not out there.
So Paul said that one was stolen or lost, and it was some time ago. Was that reported anywhere?
It wasn't officially reported because I wasn't totally convinced it was stolen.
Okay.
You know, as opposed to lost. But I mean, you know, there was people told about it.
Yeah.
I know that I told John Bedingfield about it. I know that I told some other local officers about it, you know, just in case it turned up in a drug thing.
Okay.
But I didn't do an official report.
Okay.
The two that you bought for the boys, that each one of them had one, and the one Paul lost, is that the only ones that you have?
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. I thought that Paul got another one replaced, but Buster said we didn't. But I was certain that we did. But I mean, my memory is it's been gone for a substantial while too.
Long pause. What did Alec Murdaugh, the defendant over there, tell you about the third blackout?
To his memory, it had been gone for a substantial amount of time, too.
Do you remember anything about them as far as were they the same colors?
They were identical except for colors.
Okay. Which one was Buster's?
Buster's the one we still have. Paul's the one that lost his.
Okay.
What were the two colors?
Black and tan. Buster's is black, Paul's was tan.
Okay. And you say you thought you replaced it after you lost it for another one.
I'm all but
Buster says you didn't.
I believe that we did.
Okay.
I mean, there'll be a record of that, won't it?
Should be, yes, sir.
I know we replaced. But, you know, I know we replaced it because I wouldn't replace it again. Maybe I just think that now. I don't know. but I'm certain he replaced it.
Have you talked to CB Rowe since Monday or Tuesday?
Yes, sir.
Because I know we talked about what he had done on the farm. Is he still employed?
He's still employed because I got to have somebody keeping it clean, but I mean, I can't keep him.
Mm.
I mean, he's an idiot.
Yeah.
And, you know, I told you, I don't know why that story seemed important to me the other night.
Yeah.
I really can't see CB Rowe doing, I just can't. I really do not believe that.
Well,
sir.
I mean, it's an odd story.
It's a messed up story.
And, you know, and I'm just being in law enforcement for so long and working these type cases. And I don't know the Arlington area, but talking to Colleton County and seeing the property and how isolated it is, finding somebody that's just going to randomly come up there that late at night that doesn't know the property, you know, so of course I have to look within and then start working my way out.
So you feel like it's not random. You feel like it's intentional. I mean, planned.
I don't know what to feel right now. And I hate to say that. I don't know what to feel right now.
So do y'all have any good clues?
All of the evidence that we collected Tuesday morning, and we collected additional evidence on Tuesday afternoon. They've collected evidence at autopsy today. So we're trying to put a rush on that to get an answer quick, and hoping that's going to tell us something.
By evidence, I mean, is it things you think are going to be helpful?
Well, I mean, the shot shells out there, the casings, the DNA swabs that we took from the door handle to see if anybody touched the door handles, any other places that we think somebody may have touched while they were out there. You know, we're trying to collect DNA from that and analyze that. Which at the conclusion of this, what I'm going to also ask is that we get a buccal swab, a DNA swab from you. Your DNA is going to be there, but we need to eliminate it once it's developed. So, you know,
We don't need that unknown,
yeah.
and it actually is a family member.
That's no problem.
I mean, we have talked to close to 100 people trying to track people down, and we're still tracking people down. And that's why, you know, who Paul was with.
I want to tell you one thing while I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Paul was really an incredibly intuitive little dude.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he was like a little detective. And I mean, Paul would, you know, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Which leads me to, let's go back to Paul right quick while we're on him. So we have his phone. Do you know his passcode?
I don't. And I'm going to tell you this right now. There's a few people I can point you to,
Yeah.
but I can tell you that he was super, super, super secretive with that. I mean, cell phone. I asked his brother if he knew it. Did the ones that they got the other day didn't work?
Did y'all get any the other day?
Not for Paul's phone. No.
Okay. I know they got Maggie's code.
I know Maggie's.
Yeah.
And it works, or it worked.
Yeah.
I've not gotten it, but there's a lot of people out moving parts that, you know, may have gotten that information. So we'll follow up on it. If you believe somebody gave us a code for Paul's, a possible code for Paul's.
You know, maybe it was Maggie's. I don't know.
Okay.
But I'll find out. I will try to find out Paul's code.
Okay.
But it will surprise me greatly if somebody knows it.
I mean, certainly, you know, talking about the investigation, certainly we're looking at every angle, trying to figure out what fits. And we're talking to, people that were involved in the boat case. We're trying to track down people that Paul knew and were friends with. That's why I asked who he was in Charleston with, so we can go try and see if they might know something or try to figure something out. We're trying to get into his phone to see if there's any information, see if he got like a direct threat from somebody there. I mean, the people that are here are not the only ones working on this. We've got people out doing things right now.
Thank you.
I mean, we're trying to pull everything in. Just the area, Arlington, unfortunately, there's not a lot of people moving around. I mean, I've got somebody looking at videos right now back at the office, combing through hours of videos that we've gone out and collected.
Well, thank y'all.
Yeah.
Very much.
So,
Mr. Allen.
You don't have to call me Miss. You just
I'm
call me
sorry.
Alec. Thank you for that courtesy.
When you and Paul got back to the house, Miss Maggie's there, and y'all eat supper, which has been prepared, and you said you laid down and took a little nap, and when you got up, Maggie and Paul was gone, or did they leave when you laid down?
I believe that. I'm not sure.
But they weren't there when you woke up around the 9 o'clock mark or so when you made the call to Maggie to let her know you was going to your
No, nobody was in that house when I left.
So I'm just trying to narrow that. The last time that you saw Paul and Maggie was when y'all were eating supper.
Yes, sir.
Ask the defendant, when was the last time he saw Maggie and Paul? What did he tell you?
When he was eating supper.
Until you came back from your mom and
Yes,
found what you found.
Yeah, Alex probably told you all this. He did check for a pulse. Yes.
Right, and that's why we want to do the DNA.
But I expect it.
Right. Right.
I don't know.
Yes.
when you tried to turn Paul over, do you know if you tried to turn him like towards the kennels or away from the kennels and his phone fell out?
Away. I think I turned him away.
Was he left-handed or right-handed?
He was right-handed.
Where did he normally keep his phone?
I mean, usually in his hand. But
The defendant was asked during this interview where Paul normally kept his phone. What did he say?
Usually in his hand.
I mean, it was always on him. Pocket, hand, truck.
Where did Maggie carry her phone? Anywhere she could?
Yes, sir. Did y'all get fingerprints on her phone?
I haven't gotten that back yet.
When Paul's phone came out, did you just pick it up and put it on, place it back down on him, or?
Yeah, I did not try to open it or anything. You know, I don't know how I had in my mind that I needed to not mess anything up. I had that, you know, somehow I had that presence of mind that I needed to not mess anything up. And so I tried not to.
And you definitely saw a traumatic picture, and I know it's not hard, or not easy. I know it's hard. And sitting here talking today is tough.
It was just so bad. They did it so bad.
You asked the defendant about the traumatic picture that he saw, Paul and Maggie. What did he say?
It's just so bad. I did him so bad.
I did him so bad.
Yes, sir.
He's such a good boy, too. I'm sorry, go ahead.
But you know, the little things that we've
I
got
understand.
is necessary so that we can get a little better picture as to to what may have happened.
Well, I just thank y'all for everything. You know, my in-laws, my parents, my in-laws, I would like somebody to update me or my brother or somebody so that I can tell them as y'all discover things. Unless there's some reason y'all don't do that.
Well,
I mean, they just have so many questions.
I understand. And
I mean, they may even, well, no, they don't.
well, I mean, how I know Maggie's mother just had a knee replacement. How was their health overall, other than that?
You know, they're ailing a little bit. They're getting on up there. Daddy has some neuropathy, but I mean, they're in good physical health. They're in good, you know, their fortitude is good. They're just, you know, they're just getting age on them, you know?
Yes, sir. Are they in Somerville or are they at the house on Moselle?
No, they live in Somerville.
Okay.
But they're here now.
Oh, they're here in this house?
No, they're in Moselle.
Okay. Because I mean, I'll go by and speak with them and meet with them. If you think that would help.
I think that would help a tremendous amount if you would just be willing to just sit down and let them. I mean, you know, hearing from me and John Marvin and Daniel and whoever, what little tidbits y'all get, you know what? I think it would give them peace of mind to know that y'all got a team of people out there on it.
Yes, sir.
And you know, just to really have something, you know, a tangible person instead of being told.
You got a contact number for them?
Yeah, I'm getting ready to get that.
I'm so sorry.
I know y'all have the phone, y'all. You're talking about that tower, so yeah.
Our mom and dad are just such good people. I mean, they're just
Doing all
wonderful
that, some of the
people.
other guys are back at the
Love
office.
her so much, and
Everybody
it really would make them feel good.
What are their names?
a lot of technical.
My father-in-law's name is Terry.
But yes, we
My mother-in-law's name is Kennedy, and they're Brandstetters. And my sister-in-law, who in her
Spell Brandstetter for me.
Branstetter, and then my sister-in-law, who was closest to Maggie in the whole world, is Marion Proctor. Yeah. And her husband is Bart Proctor. And they live in Charleston.
Do you have a contact number for any?
I know their numbers.
Okay.
843.
Video with consent of the defense, just so that that number is not broadcast.
Yes, sir.
My wife didn't know it. I couldn't tell anybody, my mother-in-law or father-in-law.
I'm telling you, man, I've been the luckiest person in the world with in-laws. I mean,
Yeah.
they are wonderful.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, it's my in-laws that I like, it's my wife's in-laws I don't.
There you go.
Let me grab a piece of paper. I'll be right back.
Here's Will's Chapman's number. Okay.
Need it because another contact number is given, I believe, with consent of the defense.
Yes, sir.
You want me to dig them up?
And David, I'm gonna forward you this contact. Maybe you know him, do it like that. In fact,
Okay.
someone sent me Will's Chapman's.
Hold on to that, please.
Yeah, I think it's just. Yeah, all I got was.
All right, so we have victim's advocate, Miss Marion Walker.
Thank you.
That's her cell number.
Thank you.
There's some information for you on the back. In the victim's advocate program, they help with different things. I think more specifically, what would be more beneficial, especially for you and Buster, is some counseling down the road, grief counseling.
You know, I do some assistant solicitor's work.
Yeah.
So, you know,
You're familiar with it.
familiar with the thing. But thank you so
Yes, sir.
much.
Discussion about victim's advocate. What did Mr. Burr tell you about his career?
That he did some assistant solicitors work, and he was familiar with the program.
And again, what is an assistant solicitor?
He's a prosecutor which prosecutes criminal offenses.
Okay. Criminal prosecutor?
Yes, sir.
I know y'all planned out the funeral today. When is the funeral?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Y'all have
Well,
visit.
we're doing a service tomorrow. Maggie and Paul aren't going to be ready until next week. So we're doing a service tomorrow, and then we're going to have a private family thing one day next week.
Okay. Are y'all doing anything tonight? because I can run by and talk to Terry and Kennedy tonight.
I think the
instead of-
sooner you can come
Yeah.
and talk to them, the peace of mind that would really help them.
Okay.
That's convenient for you. So we're out at the house tonight, but
Mhm.
and if for some reason they go back early because of the service tomorrow, that they may be staying tonight, they may not be, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
All of their cousins and family on the Branstetter side and the Hubbard side is coming in from Kentucky. And so they may be going back to stay with them.
Okay.
I'll find out and call you. I think you called me.
Yes, sir.
On this date of this interview on June 10th, 2021, to your knowledge, had there been another death in the family?
At this point, it had not.
Okay. Was there one not long after this?
Yes, it was.
And who died?
Mr. Alex's father,
And what was his name?
Randolph.
Jim's got my number.
Okay.
I gave him my phone.
I'll find out and
Okay.
call you in just a minute.
Okay. You good? All right. Do you have any other questions that I might be able to answer right now that we hadn't gone over?
No, sir.
As soon as I get something, and if it's okay with you, John Marvin asked me to go through him.
That's fine.
So I'm not bothering you in case you're doing something. What time is the service tomorrow?
12 o'clock,
Okay. Where is that going to be?
Hampton,
What, at the church or?
it's Graveside.
Okay. So if I get something around that time, I won't bother you. I'll wait 1:30 and.
If you get anything important, you can call me anytime.
Okay.
Anytime.
Okay. Are y'all going to publicize the service, or is it just going to be for family and friends?
No, sir. It's going to be, it's going to be open, but I got TC and those making sure I don't want any press anywhere near.
Yeah.
So,
No, they don't deserve to be near.
they're going to make sure, in the town of Hampton that, there's no press.
Okay. All right. Well, y'all got my numbers.
I think you said with that phone, it's gonna take a while.
I'm gonna go check on it. Y'all can go back in the house. When it's done, I'll bring it to
Let
you.
me do this.
Oh, the buckle, yes.
Real
Let's do
quick.
the buckle swab right quick.
All right, you can sit where you at, Alex, and I'm gonna step out, but I got glove up. And
Oh, what?
The buckle.
There was a question asked about, do you think he's through with that phone? What were they talking about?
Mr. Alex's phone, which he had given to us to do a download on.
And who was doing that download again?
Dylan Hightower.
And that was occurring while this interview was going on?
Yes, sir.
Now you're discussing the buckle swab, is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
The buckle swab, yeah.
Do I need to spit out my tobacco?
It might be better.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
You know, I'll get everything together.
I'm doing the consent now.
That's fine, I'm gonna go ahead and, where's your gloves at?
You didn't grab gloves?
I did not, but I know one of these vehicles got gloves. I'm not in mine.
For the record, at this point in the video, we're at 1 hour and 2 minutes. What happens next? What if anything, are you about to do?
I'm fixing the glove up. I'm going to secure the cotton swabs, the sterile cotton swabs, and getting ready to do the buccal swab
And who do you do the buccal swab of?
on Alex Murdaugh.
And the person you've been describing as Alec, the person you interviewed, do you see him in the courtroom here today?
Yes, sir, I do.
Can you identify him for the jury,
He's
please?
sitting at the defense table with the, looks like navy blue blazer on.
All right, on the record, reflect he's identified the defendant. Thank you. I'm going to show you real quick what's been marked as State's Exhibit 157. and see if you recognize that.
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, and can you tell the jury what that is?
That is the buccal swab which I collected from Mr. Alex Murdaugh.
Your Honor, this time I would offer states in 157 into evidence, I believe, without objection.
Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Submitted without objection.
This is the buccal swab you took that day that's on the video?
Yes, sir, it is.
After that, where did that buccal swab go?
It was turned over to crime scene and went to the lab for testing.
And is it general practice with any sort of evidence like this to secure it from any tampering while it's turned over to crime scene?
Yes, sir, it is.
And the writing on the back of this evidence slip, whose writing is that?
That would be David Owen, and he collected by Jeff Croft.
All right, thank you. I'm going to show you what's been marked as states 218, states 219, states 220, and just generally see if you recognize those particular documents.
Yes, sir, I do.
And generally, what are those?
Property receipts for items that were seized during the searches of at the residence.
That you previously described to this jury?
Yes, sir.
Firearms evidence and the like?
That's correct.
Your Honor, this time, say we move 218, 219, and 220 into evidence, I believe without objection.
Submitted there.
All right, I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 156, and I'm going to get you to pull out your, in fact, though, if the clerk, y'all have a pair of scissors I can borrow real quick? All right, I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 156, and I'm going to ask you, if you could, to open the sealed pouch at the top so we can see what's inside, if you could, please. All right, now I'm gonna ask you to hold on to that one. I ask you to return these back into that pouch if you could, please. All right, I'm going to put 156 on this particular exhibit, and can you tell the jury if you recognize that, what that is, please?
That is the buccal swab that was collected from Rogan Gibson.
You collected that buccal swab.
I did.
Did Rogan consent to that buccal swab?
He did.
And did you secure it from any tampering and turn it over to the crime scene?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, this time I would move states 156 into evidence, I believe without objection.
No objections.
You're admitted, or it's admitted without objection.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as states 155. Identification at this time, see if you recognize this particular item.
Yes, sir, I do.
And tell me generally what that is, please.
It's a property receipt for the buccal swab that I took from Mr. Alexander Murdaugh.
And that's the one from the video that has been played for the jury?
Yes, sir, it is.
This time, Your Honor, I can move states 155 into evidence, I believe without objection.
Submitted.
Court's indulgence, 1 moment. Your Honor, that would conclude the state's direct examination of Senior Special Agent Crawl.
And I think we will call it a day and start at 9:30 tomorrow morning. Please do not discuss the case.
Ha ha. Ha ha. So I was saying that it explains all of the fish carcasses that are in there. I'm assuming mom and dad must be flying around looking for some more food or more materials for their nest. Yeah, definitely not just you, Dandy. Pretty darned adorable. I don't know if, yeah, I think everybody got to see them tonight. So, any questions, or should we jump off and call it a day? And I will be back here 7:30 my time, 9:30 Eastern, 7:30 Mountain, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. See if we can find anything else out. I took quite a bit of notes, so I'm going to play it by ear. I got some domestic duties to do, and if I get some time, I would love to do another live tonight. So I'm going to wait and see how that pans out. If not, see you guys in the morning, 7:30 for me, bright and early. I appreciate you, friends. Thank you so much for spending the time with me, and I will see you back here tomorrow. Cheers, friends.